Hi everyone, it's Plastic EP coming in from Melbourne, Australia. Now, you know I'm dressed up. I don't dress up this formal unless there's someone very important on, and that's Hal Bruce. And how are you today, Hal?
I am so good. I couldn't be any better. Thanks, Plastic.
And where are you coming in from? What part of the country there in the good old USA?
Actually, I'm up in the good old Canada. Canada, eh? I'm
Well,
coming back from the US.
Yeah, well, that's not the USA, but you just did a cruise now. What was the last cruise you did?
I did two cruises with Star Vista Live. I did the 70s rock and romance cruise, and the following week on the same ship, I did the 60s Flower Power cruise. So, yeah.
And which one was George Trillinjohn?
Which one? They were on both.
Okay, great. He's great.
George and his buddy Tim.
That's it.
Friends of mine. Yeah.
They're great friends of mine, like you are. Now, I want to ask you, you've written a fantastic book, right, called Wishing Upon My Star?
Yes.
Now, tell me, it hasn't been released, but it's going to be released, but you've been good enough to get that out to the public already, which is great. So when's the official release?
The official release actually was last week. I'm going to grab the book here for a second.
Yeah, no, as you do that. And we got a picture of the book there in the background.
So we did an official release, but we're going to do official releases, like multiple releases in different cities and stuff like that. So last week it went really, really well. But this is the book here.
That's great. Just hold it forward in front of the camera.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there.
That's it. And bring it forward a little bit more and up. Stop right there.
Up. Right there.
What a fantastic picture. What a fantastic book. Now, I just want to ask you, how long did it take you to write that?
Well, I've been threatening myself that I was going to write it probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. So I made little notes on my computer and on paper, the old-fashioned way. And then I started writing it in earnest. Last September, we were touring over in Italy, and we were in Sicily. I injured my knee really badly. And so I was left at the villa while my wife, Lynn, and my brother, Curtis, and his fiancée, Maureen, went and gallivanted all over Sicily. So that whole week, it was all for writing. So that was the second week of September. So since then, I've been writing it every day when I wasn't playing, sometimes between 7 up to 15 to 18 hours per day for about 6 months. So we finished the book, had it proofed, and had it printed with only, by the time I went to pick it up, I had an hour and a half to get over, pick it up, and then head to the States by truck to take it on the cruise with me. So time was really, really tight. But it took about 6 months of constant writing.
Now, what I want to ask you is, now I know you're a master musician. There's no question in that. But when did you know that you had the music in you? That's what I want to know. Growing up, when did you know, like I can master this, I can sing, I can play guitar, this is for me, and I know what I'm doing? When did that happen? Well,
I had been playing for years before I felt really comfortable with the guitar. Now, I played electric guitar in different bands, and I got, pretty, when I say pretty good, I could handle myself on the rhythm and the lead and joining the two together with my 3-piece band. But when I went on my own in early 2002, 21 years ago, it's almost like I had to start over and think, I don't want to use tracks. I don't want to play with anybody. I just want to play on my own. So I basically restructured my way of playing. Then I got really, I think I got into cover tunes where I could hear little parts better than I could when I was with my band, because I had to listen to all these little intricate parts. And so some songs I do, I try to play multiple parts at the same time. I'm not like Lawrence Juber. I mean, he's a master. I'm not a master at it, but I get by, and I do a lot of concerts, festivals, and corporate and private, and it works well for me.
Don't worry, you rank up there as a master musician. Don't worry, you don't have to say any more than that, right? It's what people think and how you play. And to me, you've already mastered that. Now, you want to play a song that's related to the book? Tell us about that and the title.
Well, I was recording an album, and it was going to be called Rock Steady Line. And I had written a musical piece without any words. And I thought, I kind of like the melody and it just by itself with the guitar, maybe with a bass and brushes or something like that on the drums. And I had one more day to record. I thought, what if I write some words to it? And if it doesn't work out, then what I'll do is I'll just do it as an instrumental for the last cut on the album. So I'm driving home, make a long story very short. I looked up at the stars as I'm driving just for a split second. Sky was black, full of stars. And I thought, Wish Upon a Star. Then I thought, no, wait, no, that's a Jiminy Cricket song on Walt Disney. And I remember watching that show when I was a kid when my birth mom ran off with her boyfriend. And I felt like Jiminy Cricket was my only friend. I was very, very just kind of a shut-in, you know. So anyway, I thought, well, I can write about Wish Upon a Star. And my about Wish Upon a Star was basically about my broken childhood, being bullied through school. And then when I found the guitar, it made me feel like not that I belonged so much, but I had an interest that I could focus on. So it took me years to kind of get past 3 or 4 chords and really get a good sense of rhythm. And then I got better at lead. So when I went on my own, it was really the telltale sign whether I was going to continue or not. But so Wish Upon a Star was when I finally found music. And then, of course, Lynn entered my life 12 years ago and basically showed me just, I think, a better way of life of me accepting myself and accepting things the way they are and to move forward. So she was really a catalyst in this album and the thought of the song Wish Upon a Star.
That's amazing. Let's hear a bit of that track now.
Okay, yeah, I'll start off with the sad part because that's how it starts, okay? So I'll just do a little bit of it. Not long after I was born, my mama went away. I never knew the reason, but she knew she couldn't stay. I thought that it was all my fault, felt I was all alone. To face this big old world seemed that I was on my own. I quickly learned to make friends with my heroes on TV. Superman and Davy Crockett looked a bit like me. The Cricket Man looked through the glass and said I could go far. He told me all I had to do was wish upon a star. Mighty glad I looked above and wished upon that star.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
I really like it.
It has a happy kind of a story when it goes through it, but that's the sad part. And then I just closed it off with, I did find that star. And
I've got to ask you,
yes,
they buy the CD separate from the book. Is that how it works?
yes, yeah. And CDs are actually right now, they're sold out. So we have to order up more, but we are concentrating on the book mostly. But yeah, the CDs went really well for the last 2 or 3 years. I think when I released the CD, I just didn't have the time to sit down and write a book because for me, writing a book as the first bit of literature that I ever wrote, you know, and put it in book form, it was hard, challenging, but I really enjoyed it because I've got a good recall on words to songs. I've got a list of probably 1,000 to 1,500 songs that I do by heart. I don't use any tablets or anything like that. And but my recall for memory from my childhood and going through all the different bands and even down to months and sometimes days and years is pretty good. So I thought, you know, now's the time to write this thing. So
now what I want to ask you is, what's the name of the CD? Is it the same title as the book or it's got a different name?
no, it's called Rock Steady Line.
Okay, now what I want you to do is tell everybody where they buy the CD and where they buy the book. And if the CD is out of print, they can pre-order, can they? What can they do now if they really want the CD and the book?
They can. Before I kind of put my foot in my mouth, Lynn, you're there, are you? Can you come here and coach me on this? But actually, you can find my CD online on my
Okay.
website. And the book is available, am I right, Len, on the website? Because it just came up anyway. It's
Yes.
available on the website.
In the store page.
Yeah, on the store page, yes. So they
Right,
can-
just
they
give
can
us
get
the
information.
give us the name of the link for the website.
www.halbruce, all one word, HALBRUCE.com. And just
That's
go to
it.
the store page. Yep.
That's easy. Now, with the book, as I said, you plan to go out and do signings. Is that coming up?
Yes, I did some signings last week. I got another one coming up May 13th in my home village where I was brought up, where I spent when I was introduced to the Beatles music, the Stones, Herman's Hermits, the Monkees, whoever, that was coming out. So basically those were good years of getting into music. They don't make music like that anymore, really, in the way of so many songs per 100 were so good. Now you got good songs, but yeah, you have to be kind of picky about the ones that you think might be good.
No,
Maybe
I'm in your era. The big year for me was 1967, and being an original fan of everything. Because, like, you got to understand, here in Australia in 1964, the Beatles came to Melbourne, Australia, and played at Festival Hall, and they had Jimmy Nicol as a stand-in drummer.
That's right.
And Ringo Starr had a tonsil operation, and then he came back and he joined the Beatles here, and he played at Festival Hall in West Melbourne. He got the end of the Australian concert, and then Jimmy Nicol went home. So, as I said, I grew up with the Monkees in '67 because, as I said, I'm 6 years old, but I appreciate and I learned a lot about the Beatles while it was actually happening here.
Yeah.
So I understand everything you're telling me. Because that's the best golden age there is. I mean, if you live the 60s, I mean, the music is still unbelievable. And that's why new generations of fans are learning all about it from shows like this.
Yeah, yeah. It was phenomenal. I keep pinching myself, and I tell people, that are my age, were we not the luckiest people on the planet to grow up in that era? But you know what? When my parents grew up, my dad would say that the era of the big bands. So I guess it depends on the age you are, because my son now, he was really into the 90s music, Nirvana and Stone Temple Pilots and the Collective Soul and those bands. But I didn't see what he saw at the time in those bands. But when I listened to them more, I got what he got. I understood why they were so great. But I think it was my formative years in the 60s and even some of the 70s, Fleetwood Mac, the Eagles, Steve Miller, Linda Ronstadt, Little River Band. We did Lady, we did, I got to sing with Glenn Shorrock actually at the town hall. I think it was a town hall. It was in Adelaide with the symphony. With the symphony, actually.
I interviewed Beat Birtles, who was in a group called Zoot, and then he was a member of the Little River Band.
Yeah.
He's great. Now, listen, what I want to say is, everything you've done is fantastic, but this is what I want to say about music in general. It doesn't matter if you come in when ABBA was in, or when the Monkees were in, or when Michael Jackson was in, all the fans end up at the Beatles. Now, that is a fact. So it doesn't matter when you come into music and who's current, you still end up at the Beatles. I say that all the time because it's true.
It's true. It is true. Well, the music of the Beatles was, and as you know, and as everybody knows, wasn't just one style. They covered everything from country to folk, rock and roll, pop, and even some classical styled stuff. Eleanor Rigby was very, very classical sounding.
Of course. Now, I want to ask you, is there any cruise coming up, or what's coming up now in the future? If you know, just mention it.
Yeah, May 13th, I'm doing the book signing and launching my home village. I don't know if you heard of a place called Peggy's Cove, but it's one of the most famous rock outcrops in the ocean in the world, and it draws in tons of tourists. Anyway, I am doing a book launch down there on May 13th at a place called the Labor Day Picnic Cafe. And then after that, I've got a week off to prepare for our cruise over in southern France. We're doing a river cruise. So we'll be gone for a month, and then we're going to do Spain. And then I'm flying to Richmond, Virginia to do a private thing there So they're flying me over there to Richmond, Virginia, and then they fly me back home where I continue my summer tour. But all in the midst of all of that stuff, it's going to be book launches everywhere I play. Because if I hold it just in the town of city of Halifax, I can't see people from all over the province coming just to a book signing. So if I go to their city or town or village to play, I'll go in early and we'll do a book signing and book launch.
That's amazing. Now, just tell everyone your website one more time.
www.halbruce, HALBRUCE.com. There you go.
All right, we want
Okay.
everyone to go out there and buy the book, and you'll sign the book if they buy it from your website, won't you?
Well, actually, you know what? I'm charging $35 for the autograph, but the book is free.
Okay. I get the joke. All right, make sure you get the book and make sure you get the CD, and give me the name one more time of that great CD.
The CD is called Rocksteady Line. The song is called Wish Upon a Star, but the book is called Wishing Upon My Star. That's
a great book. Show us how thick it is.
It is pretty thick. It's about 318 pages. In the middle, we got pictures of different bands that I was with since I was 14 years old, and some neat hiking shots. Linda and I love to hike in the mountains and stuff like that. So there's some really neat shots of all kinds of stuff in there.
Well, I say it's
Lots of stuff.
fantastic, and congratulations to you and Lynn. And I just want
I
to say,
appreciate it.
everyone out there, let's support everyone out there. Let's support musicians who are doing great things out there in the world. Because you know what? You're making people happy, and when you go out and you appear and you play to them, they love you hell. I know that for a fact.
Well, thank you, Plastic. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you and everybody out there. Thank you.
Anytime, Hal. See everyone.
Take care,
Bye.
man.